Hey, what's up? I'm Allie and welcome back to my channel. It has been a minute since I've done a wrap-up. I've been trying out this new recent reads format just because I haven't really been reading that much. Not as much as I have in the past few years. I just have been really busy and just doing a lot of other things and trying to get back to enjoying reading instead of feeling like I have to do things. So obviously that means that a lot of the videos that I would like to do have been on a standstill, but I would rather have the joy of reading come back than force myself to do it. So there's that, and it must be working because I ended up enjoying a lot of the books that I'm going to talk about today. I originally did this format with talking about around 8 books. I've pared it down a little to about 5 books each time. Again, just working out how this is going to work. I've technically already talked about 3 of these in a vlog that I had done, so it might not be news to you, but I'm still going to talk about them. Actually, I have 6 books to talk to you guys about today, so I'm going to make up for the fact that I have already talked about 3 of these by talking about maybe a bonus one. I don't know, I'm already breaking the rules. Here we go. I'm already breaking them. The first book is A Court of Silver Flames. Talk about a honker. Look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If anyone is interested, this is kind of the tabbing system that I went off, but I have tabbed all of my Sarah J. Maas books. Any of my favorite fantasy books, any new installations in a series get tabbed. So this was a must, and of course I was so excited because I am Sarah J. Maas trash. I'll just say it, I love me some fae smut, and that's pretty much all this book was. Plot, she don't exist, this is just fae smut, pretty much. And she really goes into the details. She was in there. I was not excited. I knew it was going to be steamy, but I was not expecting this to be as steamy as it was. I don't want to give too much away, but this is like the 5th. Is this the 5th in this series? And this does follow Nesta as she is dealing with some of her own trauma. She has distanced herself from her family. She's always been a bitch. Basically, no one seems to like her, and she likes it that way. But this is her trying to deal with her trauma, and it's looking at her dealing with this trauma in a way that is, well, alcohol and sex, basically. And I tend to really enjoy those types of storylines where that's kind of a way of dealing with trauma. I think it's a very real way of dealing with trauma. It's not a healthy way, but it is a very real way that I feel like is not explored a lot, at least not in the books that I'm reading. So I really did enjoy this perspective of it. I also really enjoyed the action and the new friendships that are developing in this. I love being in the library. I loved the home in this. I don't want to go too much into it. Sarah J. Maas's books are just so addicting. I love her writing. I love her characters. It's just something about it. These are such comfort reads to me. And I did do a whole vlog reading this. So if you're interested more in depth on my thoughts on this specifically, you can go watch that. There is some spoilery parts in that if you have read it and want to hear more of my thoughts. I don't know what else to say. I said the plot is kind of non-existent. It felt like Sarah J. Maas was backpedaling a lot to some of the things that had happened in previous books, and it was a little bit of a slow build up to the parts that I really enjoyed and some things that were just like meh. But as we have seen that I can not dislike, but I can be kind of semi-disinterested up until the end. But if the ending's good, I'm probably going to say that I love the whole book, and I don't know why that is. I don't know. This seems to be a new trend of Sarah J. Maas for me, because Crescent City was also this way for me. But I did end up giving this a 4.5. Again, I don't know if that's being generous or not. I really just ended up, I love Nesta. This is probably up there with A Court of Thorns and Court of Mist and Fury for me, honestly. I just really enjoyed this one. Was it the best plot-wise? No, it sure was not. Did it matter, though? I still loved it. Look at this coloring I got going on to, oh my god, yes. I'm gonna try to figure this out here. In that same vlog, I had also read From Blood and Ash. Originally, I was going to, like, match these up as, like, steamy versus steamy, but the thing is this was, after I read A Court of Silver Flames, I was like, ain't nothing comparing to that on the steamy level, so, you know, I had to par this down a little, especially because I feel like a lot of people have said that this is really smutty. This first one is not so much. There were some scenes that I really enjoyed. Again, another tabbed up. I tend to tab fantasy series specifically. If you ever see that I have tabs in the top of a book, those tend to be the more explicit sex scenes. So as you can see, there was only about 2 in this book, so it wasn't quite living up to the smuttiness that I felt like everyone had compared it to. However, I've heard that the series just gets steamier from there. This is, and I did not realize this is basically a vampire book, but this is about Poppy, who is the maiden, and basically she's going to ascend, and like she has to follow all these rules, like no one can touch her, no one can look at her, no one can really talk to her. She has to live this very private life, but the thing is that she don't want to do that, and she goes out and is like exploring things that she is not supposed to be doing anyway, and that's how she comes across Hawk, and he is a new guard at the palace type thing that she has to live at. And next thing she knows, she ends up spending a little more time with him. She's, you know, kind of forced to spend some more time with him, and things progress from there, as you guessed. But there is a war that is kind of hinted at, that one that has happened and one that is probably going to happen. Kind of vampire-esque creatures that they're like terrified of, that they're afraid are going to come back. There's also like these werewolf type things. People are being transformed into like these kind of like bloodthirsty zombie type things. And so zombies is not the correct word, but I don't know what else to call it. Like vampire husks, basically. This one I did feel was quite slow getting into, and Jennifer L. Armentrout doesn't explain a whole lot about the world, which hence why I'm having a terrible time explaining it to you, because there are some writers who just like can write things that kind of fit in seamlessly. Then there are some writers who have to kind of info dump, and then there's Jennifer L. Armentrout, who just kind of throws you into this world thinking that you know everything about it already, and like you better just pick up on it. Like, there were parts where I was like, I have no clue what is happening. I have no clue, and I guess I'm just rolling with it because I didn't know what else to do. So I didn't think things were explained all that well. The world building is lacking. It does seem like there is going to be more world building within the second one, just based on the events that happened in this one. I will say, once I started getting into this and not fretting over the fact that like I don't need to know everything about the world, I really enjoyed this. And again, another instance of it doesn't seem to matter how lacking the first parts of it are. As long as the ending is good, I'll give it a 4.5. It is very insta-lusty, kind of insta-lovey, but it works in a way. I don't know how to describe it. I know there's going to be more information, I think, about why it is that way. So yeah, this is also my vlog, so you can see more of my thoughts on it from my vlog, but just letting you know, this is a 4.5. I did end up enjoying this more than I thought I would. I immediately bought the second one, and I've started the second one, but these are thick books, so it is taking me a bit. I quickly mentioned in that vlog as well, see, I talked about 3 books in that vlog, was Actor Age Eve Brown, and I just really enjoy all of the Brown sisters books. These are contemporary romances, and this follows Eve. She's kind of a, I guess she's more of the like klutzy, go lucky kind of sister, trying to find her way in the world, trying to find her talents. Her other sisters seem to know what they're doing, and she's just kind of like on her own, and she's kind of quit her job and doesn't know what to do. And so she comes across this inn and ends up applying basically for a job there, and she ends up getting the job, but in the meantime she also like runs over the guy that owns it, and he's a dick to her. And so she is working there as he's kind of like recovering, and they're very back and forth banter-esque. It's not quite a hate to love, it's a dislike to love, I guess, but the banter is really cute. Like realistic, because he was very soft and kind of humble in his own way and dorky, and I loved it. There was just something about this character that was so endearing, and I love just the chemistry between the two. And it was just, you know, steamy in the right parts, just enough detail, just enough suspense. You know, it follows kind of the basic romance plotline, but it was a good time. I listened to it in one sitting just because, you know, they're just so enjoyable and you can just eat them up so quickly. I gave it 4.5 again. I just thought it was really enjoyable. It was like just what I needed at the moment. It was just really fun. I love the characters in this. I just love the chemistry. I just thought that it really worked out. I feel like I don't have to sell this book anymore. to you because everyone has talked about it and raved about it, and like, I think they're worth the hype. I listened to They Never Learn. Oh my god, tongue. Work with me here. They Never Learn, and this was, I thought it was going to be more dark academia than it was. This is a thriller that takes place at this academy, and we are following two different points of views. One is from a teacher at this university, and she is a serial killer, and she kills men who have sexually harassed or sexually assaulted women, and yeah, she hunts them down and kills them and makes it look like suicide. However, it's kind of come to authorities' attention that there are a lot of these suicides happening, and there might be a linking factor, and maybe they're not suicides after all, or accidents. Suicides, accidents, you know, she kind of stages it. And while she's trying to like get close to this case and work on this case so she can kind of lead them off the trail, she's also planning her next murder. Then on the other hand, we are following a young student, and it is about her trying to kind of fit into her own university and some of the things that are happening. She sees one of her friends is assaulted, and she's trying to find her friend help. However, there's a lot of gaslighting happening in this situation, a lot of denial of things, and a lot of other things happening, and of course, like, you find out how the two stories are connected. Expecting a little bit more from this book. I thought the writing was pretty good, and I did like the kind of dual perspectives. I will say that I guessed every single plot twist that was going to happen. That might be because this is something that I read a lot of. I read a lot of thrillers and kind of just know where they're going. I think sometimes I can get past the fact that like I can find a book predictable. However, I do think that like if this was something that would have surprised me in the moment, it would have made it that much more enjoyable for this book. The plot twist seemed pretty like integral to the plot. It was important that they were plot twists to kind of make it work, and it just didn't work for me. Yeah, but I enjoyed the characters. I will say I was getting really frustrated with the gaslighting that was happening. Like, I get it because like I'm a woman, so I know the gaslighting and the dismissals, but it was just very frustrating to read and not being able to do anything about. I listened to this pretty much in one sitting because I just needed to know what was going to happen next. You know, it was nice. I did find myself kind of immediately forgetting a lot of the details, so I ended up giving it a 3.5 just because it wasn't something super memorable to me. The writing was fine, the story was fine. It was just missing a little bit of like an oomph or a shock factor that I really needed for it to excel for me. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, I'm really, really excited. I don't know what took me so long to get onto, you know, the popularity train on this one, but finally I was just kind of in the mood to try The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Look at this, so shiny. Shiny! I don't know the words. Everyone has been hyping up this book since it came out last fall. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. This is probably my first 5-star read of the year. I can see this being in my favorites at the end of the year. I stayed up thinking about Miss Addie LaRue. I thought that this was just so brilliantly done. I loved that the deal with the devil kind of deal. Addie LaRue, in a moment of desperation of wanting to be a free woman and not be tied down and go explore and all these other things within, I think she was born in the 1700s. She's born in the early 1700s. She's trying to escape and just do her own thing. In doing so, she makes a deal with the devil. And basically she gets to live forever and be a free woman and do what she wants, and she never actually ages and all this good stuff. However, no one will ever remember her name. She can meet people, and the moment they turn around, they have forgotten her. I loved seeing the ways that she kind of dealt with this in life, the ways that she got around this. So like, obviously she could never have a house or a job or anything like that. So the ways that she kind of worked around this, and the ways that she connected with people, and the ways that she made her mark in the world were so interesting. I love this. I love that it was like an ode to artwork, to music and poetry and stories and art and just like all the good stuff. And I loved that. And I love that we went back and forth between her life then and going through, and then now. A good part of this was now. So I really enjoyed this. I did not realize that there is a second point of view in this story, and that kind of took me by surprise, and I was quite happy about that. This book very much has a feeling to it. I don't know how to describe it. Kind of just, I just have no clue how to describe this feeling that I get with certain books, but this is it. It's just kind of like this old library, dusty, like I'm feeling very intellectual reading this, and I feel like I've been transported to a different time and time does not exist for me type of feeling, and that's how I felt reading this. And I think the way that the characters were written and how they connected worked. I really liked it, and I know that this is not supposed to be a love story between her and the devil, but like, I was here for it. I was here for, just saying, I was here for it. I was here for all the things that were going on. I love this writing. It's very, it's dark but kind of whimsical, and it's a little bit magical, but it's also kind of serious, and just, I don't know how to describe it. I love this writing. I really enjoyed this story. This is probably the best book that I've read this year and possibly going to read, since I'm having a terrible time reading. But I just really really enjoyed this, and I can see myself coming back to the story and loving this. This kind of feels like a dark, magical City of Girls for anyone else who loves that book as much as I do. I love City of Girls. Or if you're looking for a modernized version, less magical story that is similar to this, try City of Girls. So, I don't know, the feeling of those two books, just of those, go together, and I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're not the same story at all, but they work, I feel like. And then the last book that I am going to talk about is Just Mercy, and this is a nonfiction. It is Bryan Stevenson's book about some of the cases that he has worked on when it comes to justice reform in America, the justice system, and how it works in general. It is mostly about Walter McMillian's case, who was a Black man who was put on death row for a murder that he did not commit, and Bryan Stevenson goes in and looks at the kind of evidence towards it, and they had nothing to put him on death row, and yet they refused to give him a trial, and he was on death row for years as they tried to get a retrial, and they found out just all these things that were in the kind of justice system that were just wrong and dehumanizing and things like that. So but it also has other cases that he deals with that are from all over the country and deal with different ages and mostly kind of poor communities and the different ways the justice system treats children and the disabled and things like that. So this definitely was very eye-opening. I'm not super knowledgeable about kind of the justice system and laws and things like that and how any of that works, so this was very eye-opening to a lot of the things that have been happening in America and things that like I personally didn't know about and wanted to learn more about. But it is heartbreaking but also enlightening and also hopeful at the same time. And like Bryan Stevenson, I don't know, I'm exhausted from like waking up every day, and I don't know how he was doing so much all the time. But he has a website, Equal Justice Initiative. He has started that, and it's an organization if you want to learn more about that organization or just more about Just Mercy. I mean, this is also a 5-star read, and it's, you know, I would recommend it if you're trying to look more into just kind of the beginning of things that are wrong within our justice system. So look at all these tabbed books. Oh my god, the tabbing is a real, wait, I wish I listened to Addie LaRue, or I would have tabbed it as well. This little tab moment. Oh, it's satisfying, isn't it? Don't we just love a little tabbed moment? Let me know what you've been reading recently, or if you've read any of these and you agree or disagree with any of the things that I said. I would love to know. If you made it to the end of this video, leave an emoji of your choice down below. It don't matter to me. It don't matter. If you guys have liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to see future wrap-ups from me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next one. Bye!